What's good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about some important levels to watch for on Tesla, SPY, Nvda, and the QQQ. But before I break anything down with all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. This offer ends in just 8 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. So looking at SPYs, things currently up about 0.5%, almost holding up quite decently. And we saw some manipulation in the very beginning. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you look at the 5-minute time frame on SPY, you will see that in the morning we got this sell-off, and I was expecting that to happen. And I told you we should see some buyers step in very soon, and it bounces what I was expecting soon. And what happened was SPY came all the way down to about 417.8. So people knew 418 is where the low of the day was for the pre-market at that time. And people basically set their stops over there, right? People were expecting 418 to be like the level to watch for. And what happened is these market makers, they broke us just under 418, triggering lots of stops and causing a lot of people to start selling. They tricked a lot of investors for the first 15 minutes. But then, as time went on, this was just a trap because when retail started selling, the institutions started buying and they started pumping this thing very nicely. I was warning you guys about some kind of like sell off and maybe a bounce to come later on. And that's what happened today. We got a nice bounce throughout the markets. SPY is green, Tesla's green, Aapl is green, Nvda, QQQ, Microsoft, AMD. They're all green for the day, and the VIX was coming down as expected alongside the dollar. So this was what I was predicting yesterday, and this is what happened so far. So now let's talk about what's going on with the markets, what's going on with these important levels on SPY and etc. So when it comes to these levels and whether or not we're going to continue to hold, it is going to be dependent to some extent on earnings. So for tomorrow, well, let's actually start off with today. Today, after the market closes, we have Logitech and just a couple of others, nothing too significant. But for tomorrow is when things become more real because before the market opens, we have Coca-Cola, Verizon, GE, and just a couple of other tickers. And then going into aftermarket close, we have Microsoft, Alphabet, and Snap. Now, Coca-Cola could affect the market to some extent, but I don't think it's going to be that significant, nothing that huge. So we will see how these earnings end up looking. This could affect the market to some extent going into tomorrow. But for now, I'm just going to talk about what's happening intraday. Right now, the market is being bought up quite nicely. And if you want to hold or secure profits, is up to you because I just want to warn you, Coca-Cola has earnings tomorrow morning. It could affect the market and cause something different. At least during the pre-market. So we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, just know that the market is looking more bullish. We're on an uptrend on the 30 minutes time frame. And we're going to be watching this 422.69 area, which is the 30 minutes 50 EMA as key support intraday. And remember, guys, support and resistance levels could change intraday depending on EMAs and such. So we're holding the 50 EMA quite nicely at 422.6. And if we had lost that, we could have seen this thing come down to 421.7. That's the next support. Below that, we have basically like 420. But for now, we're holding quite decently above 422, which is a decent sign. Now, for resistance, you're going to be watching some key levels on SPY. On SPY, we have 423.5 as resistance. Watch that very carefully. If we break that, watch 424.5 as the next key resistance. So far, we're holding up quite decently. Now, if we get above even 424.5, 425 becomes a real possibility, very close to where this high was, where this wick is right here. So I could see, once again, a little bit more upside, but I don't think it's going to be that strong. I think the market's going to be a little bit choppy, maybe not choppy, kind of just like range bound, if anything, stuck between 422 and 425 for the rest of the day. I do believe some buyers are stepping in, so they should try to help this hold up quite decently, but make sure you watch these supports just to be safe. Now, what else is very interesting would be Tesla, in my opinion. Tesla's been holding up very, very nicely for the day. So in the morning, we were expecting some possible selling for Tesla. I was thinking maybe like 205 to 208 is where we should see Tesla try to see some buyers step in before they start pushing it higher. Instead, it went all the way down to 202.5 for a quick drop. It happened very fast, and this was a fake out. They wanted everyone to think it was going to come down to 200. They were trying to trigger more stops, and people started selling. Tesla started panicking, and then that's when the buyers came in. Institutions started buying when retail was selling down here, and they pushed it right back up. So now, what are some levels to watch for on Tesla? Tesla is sandwiched between our 50 and our 200 EMA right here. So just look at this candle right here. Basically, this 20 EMA on the 30 minutes time frame is at 212.5. If we lose that, it's going to come down to 210 or even below that. And as of right now, we're seeing more buyers stepping in. So it is looking like the buyers are trying to fight and they have the edge right now. Watch 214.5 as resistance. That's very close to the 50 EMA. If Tesla breaks that, we're going to be watching this thing retest this 215 area. If that breaks, watch 216.8 as resistance. Those are some like key resistance levels. Obviously, it could shop between those levels, but I believe what's going to likely happen is Tesla kind of just gets stuck here. It's just range bound between the 212 to 216, just goes back and forth for the rest of the day, and we could get a pump for the end of the day, guys. There's a real possibility of that. So maybe Tesla could try to get an attempt to go even higher, but we'll have to see if it could break 216.8 to 217. If it breaks that area, then we're going to be watching this high up here to this 218 area, followed by 220. Those are some very, very tight levels, but Tesla is starting to show some life. Now for Aapl was looking a little weak in the morning, but I told you all around either 169 or 170 buyers should step in. And if you look at this, we came down right there almost exactly. So basically, we held the 170 range. We did drop a tiny bit below it, right? We saw 169.94. This was a trap in the morning for many investors who had their stops at 170. They wanted people to just start selling when they saw 170 break. It was a trap, and people started selling, and that's when institutions bought it up and pushed it right back up. And now Aapl is at a key resistance, one of the levels we talked about, around this 173.6 area. Now it's looking quite decent. We're approaching this key resistance right here. If this breaks on Aapl, you're going to be watching it come all the way up to 174. If that breaks, watch 174.5 and 175 above that. For supports, you're going to be watching 173.5 and then 172.6 on Aapl as two key support zones. Make sure you watch them very, very carefully. And for now, Aapl is looking more bullish. If you look at the trend, it's continuing to break. It just made a new high of the day. And this is helping the market pump even more. For the QQQ, and by the way, Aapl is looking more bullish in case you didn't catch that. Anyways, for the QQQ, I was talking about this coming down very close to about 350, and maybe some buyers should step in. And the buyers pumped this very, very nicely. It's up over 1% for the day. Came down very close to 351, so it broke the low of the day from the pre-market just barely, which was another liquidity grab, and it ended up getting pumped very nicely. So how is this looking? What are some important levels to watch for? On the QQQ, it's looking very strong, very, very nice so far. If anything, you're going to be watching some support at this 358 area. Had we lost that, then we'd be watching the next support at 357. If that was lost, it could come down to 355.5. For resistance, you're going to be watching this 360 area. If the QQQ could hold above 358, 360 is a possibility. It's a little tight right now, so it's kind of like shopping between 358 to 360, but it could get all the way up there if we keep seeing buyers stepping in. If it breaks that, watch 361.69. Now, right now, from a technical standpoint, it's kind of like stuck. It's kind of just going back and forth between 358 and 359. But we don't truly have strong resistance until like 360. So we're going to be watching this choppy price action and just know it's looking a bit more bullish. The 30-minute looks more bullish. The 4-hour time frame, I think it's about to turn bullish. It's trying to turn more bullish. So you could see it's showing lots of life and it wants to start pushing up higher. So it's looking a bit more bullish. Quite good so far. On Nvda, I was talking about this, 407 to 409 area. That's the low from the pre-market, and that's where the buyer stepped in exactly. So we caught that almost exactly on Nvda, and I was expecting this to push up to about 420 to 425 at least. We're actually at 428, so even more bullish than expected, which is very beautiful to see. So with this nice bounce on Nvda, we're going to be watching this wick right here at this 430 resistance. If this breaks, we could see 433. And if that breaks, there is potential for it to go all the way up to about 437 because that's where we had this previous resistance right here. For now, I'm going to actually delete this like little channel that formed earlier. We don't really need that anymore. But we could see this thing try to get even closer to these higher levels if we manage to break and hold 430. So 430 is the resistance of the day. For support, watch 425. If that breaks, if it gets below that, you're going to be watching this previous resistance becoming support right about here. This is going to become support around this 421. It's basically very close to 420, that area right there. If we lose that, 417 is a real possibility. Nvidia, however, is on a nice uptrend. It's still holding up decently. It's just getting stuck because of some resistance. The 4 hour is looking quite good. The 30 minutes time frame is looking quite decent too. So like I said before, 430 is the level to watch for. That's also where the 30 minutes 200 EMA just so happens to be. So that's acting as our resistance. We're also trying to hold above the 5 EMA at 427.5, so it could just chop around this area for the rest of the day. But overall, it's holding up quite nicely. I think that's pretty much it in terms of what I'm going to be talking about for now. So, anyways, guys, I hope everyone takes care and you guys watch these levels all very carefully. If you're interested, the VIX has come down as we expected. We were talking about a bearish divergence on the VIX. The VIX came right back down, and the dollar also broke below 106, which is something I had in the back of my mind. So far so good. The yields are coming down a little bit. The 10-year is down a bit, which is bullish for the markets. Markets holding up. So watch these levels and do what you have to do, guys. I'll see you guys later on. Thank you. Market to the moon because the long term is very bright. And peace out.